Welcome to this new tutorial. In this tutorial, I will talk about the IPerCom Configurator. So let's start from IPerCom installer tools. This is about IPerCom version 2.0.0. Let's create a new site, demo site. In configuration, we can create a new configuration. We have to define a project name like demo site configuration. We need to choose the installer passwords and to select the template. Here is the description of each template. So this is for one household system. The second one is for a system with only one stair. The third one is for multiple stairs and multi-block. So from the easiest to the more complex building systems. So let's try with the multi-block. Okay, in the multi-block, in the navigation bar, we have no blocks, no nodes, no side, just one side, a single side. So we need to add blocks, assuming we have 5 blocks, each one with 2 stairs, with 15 floors and just 5 apartments. It creates the topological structure with all the nodes. To navigate into the node, just click on it. So let's say we are going down to the apartment 1 or block 1, stair 1, floor 1. So in case the building is not homogeneous, you want to add a new apartment here, for example, you go on the upper node and you can add apartments. So you can add, let's say, 2 apartments if it is required. Then maybe, so on floor 1 now we have 7 apartments instead of 5. If we want to clone floor 1, we can go on stair and just click this button. It will make a clone of the floor, the selected floor. So if we want to make a clone, it did it. And it is placed on the bottom. So here we have seven apartments. Every node can be renamed. So for example, the site name, this is my site demo. We can rename block 1. So every kind of node. So in particular, when you go down to the apartment, it is suggested to have the family name like Rossi family in the description. So I've talked about this navigation dialog in the topology, and this is used in also for users, residents in particular, because non-resident, of course, are not residents, so are not about any topological node, but the residents, they are in a single apartment. So you can add a resident in apartment 1 and define surname like Rossi, we said, Paolo. You can add descriptions, you can add up to 3 keys. You need to choose among the technology of the key, because on IPerCom we support 3 technologies: 125 kilohertz and MIFARE. There are double technology keys, MIFARE Plus, MIFARE, and 125 kilohertz. The door code is a code to access a door from calling station which have a keyboard. You can suspend the resident if you want, make it visible on address books. You can even add address in access tables, but let's leave it like this. So let's give a short look about all the configurator. The first tab is about project, and here are information like the name of the site, the timestamp of the creation of this configuration, when it has been modified last time, project version, configurator, sorry, version, the template. You can also change the template. Of course, what can happen is that you are creating a single star, for example, configuration, and then it is required to add a second star. So in this case, you can pass from single star to multiple stars. Now we are on the multi-block, so going back has no sense basically. But you eventually you can, but it will erase basically your configuration. Here you can add the information about the site, about the agent, installer, and you can export some files. So the configuration report is useful because it reports the topology of the system and also the devices with the MAC address, which is the identifier of the device. So in this way, you can have on paper or anyway on a readable file all the topology of the system and which device is installed where. Okay, this is interesting. The second export is about IPerCom because IPerCom 2.0 can be integrated with IPerCom, which is FDI of URMA Group access control system, professional access control system. So in case you need a more performing access control system than the one integrated into IPerCom 2.0, you can use IPerCom. Let's give a look now at the topology. So as I explained before, you have this navigation dialog and you can navigate. You can add nodes, remove nodes, and so on. This is contextual to the node where you are. So you always have this setting. In the setting, you have only two items: the name, which can be changed if you want, the topological code, which cannot be changed. Then you have devices, because you can add devices in every node. So for example, if we go to department and add device, we are suggested to add max monitors, audio door phone, private call module. While if you are on a stair, it is suggested to add the call module, a modular calling station. This is alpha, an entry panel, and so on. You can add a switchboard, relay actuators, and so on. Then we have two other subtabs, which are address books and activations. For address book, you can add contacts. So the way address book works is that if you add a contact on the stair, it can be visible on the max monitors of all the apartments in floors up of this stair. Okay, so let's try. If you add a contact, you need to put a name like Dr. Red. As you see, this is the scope, so it is visible. This contact is visible to all the scope: site, block 1, stair 1, and is public, which can be visible to all the devices of node stair 1 and inner nodes. The target, this is what you want to call. For example, let's say that Dr. Rossi is in apartment 1, Rossi family, and we can make it ring all the door fonts on node apartment. Okay. And this is visibility filter. Where do we want to see this contact item? Let's say we want to see on the max, on the call module, and on audio door font available by using button T1. Okay, so this is the entry about address book. If we go down, we still see that because it reminds us that this item is available in all departments of all the floors about stair 1. Okay, we can edit, delete, and so on. Then we have, let's talk about activations. So this is about topological activation, topological rules. So we are under topology, so this applies to when we create a rule to all the max monitors or call modules which are under this stair. So in order to have a new activation, we need at least a relay actuator. So let's add a relay actuator on the site. So it is not important to where we add the relay actuator. So relay actuator, let's select the latest one, version 405, which is the latest with encryption, which can be used for remote relay of door, gates, and hall buttons. So let's call it like relay v4. Here we put some sample MAC address. We need to define the output, what it is used for. Like for example, this is turn on the one lights, and is monostable for with, let's say, 300 seconds, which is 5 minutes. And let's leave it or the other like we find it. So let's say that on stair 1 we want to create a new activation rule. So we need to select the trigger. So when do we want to perform the activation? On door opening or gate opening, on incoming call or user activation? Let's try with door opening. So this rule is turn on light on, sorry, stair 1. This apply to any door, but we can select a specific door. Now we have no call module, so basically I cannot choose among doors. You can apply time profile, which restricts the activity of this rule. So if we want to turn on light only during the night, we can create a time profile which identifies the interval time during the night. Then we need to add outputs. So add new output. We have it here. Let's use the one. Activate. Okay. And then, okay. So what does it mean? That every time everybody calls an apartment which is under the stair, and the apartment opens the door, under door opening, the light, which is controlled by the relay actuator here, turns on. That's all. So I will not go further in details about this activation because this is just an overview. Here we have the user tabs. We have 4 under tabs. So residence, you have the navigation active because you can navigate down to the apartments and add new residence. You have non-residence, which is for visitors, people about maintenance or cleaning, so on. You can add here no residents. You can create group of people here, which is useful for access control. And here we have the switchboard user. You always need a user about switchboard. So if you are going to install a switchboard on your system, you need to create one of these to add name, surname, username, and password. Okay. Then let's give a fast look to this other tab, access control. Yeah, the access control includes time profiles to restrict the access time of on doors, the access profiles, which create access profile identified by a set of doors and gates. Holidays, this is because you can define a specific behavior for holidays. That's what, because time profiles are weekly based. So if we try to create a time profile like some we may say that is for Monday from 9 to 12, you can copy paste this way. If you have a holiday, you can add an exception for the holiday, so that if the holiday happens on Tuesday, you can of course use the holiday programming and not the standard Tuesday. Okay, so now um, then we have door groups. You can create a group of door which are useful to add to access profiles. Door profiles. Door profiles are restrictive door profiles about door. So you can have, of course, a name of the profile, the door time, which is about the relay, how much time it is closed, if it works with door forced alarms, which means that the sensor is used, max door opening time for the alarm, if it is under secret or free, and you can add a time profile, but this is more restrictive compared to the access profiles. And then we have trade. Trade is applies only to call modules and modular calling station. Basically, it's an access profile which um, in a specific time profiles opens a door. So let's try. You basically you need to create an access profile for this. So let's just add a call module because we have no doors, so it is not possible to have an access profile with no doors. So let's say this is a principal call module. We can have here MAC address. I don't know, just put something like this. Okay. So now let's go back to access control. We can create an access profile. Of course, we have only one door. If we do this is like a summer course access profile, and we have a validity restriction. We can say that is only from June to September. Okay. We have to select the list door. Okay. So if we want, in this case, the people to have no need of keys or key codes, we can create a trade in this way. Trade name, this is summer course IP. trade. So we select this one. So basically, this means that on the call module, it will appear a message that to open the door is enough to press a button. No need to use the key or insert any key code. That's what trade is for. Okay, let's go on building automation. In building automation, you can create some rules about inputs and outputs of relay actuator /84. That is in order to activate some outputs when you close or open or long press a button on relay actuators. It uses the same time profile. This is shared with the access control. So basically you have the same list because you can restrict the application of rules to some with time profiles. Under the building automation, you also have alarms because you can send alarms to switchboards, and in this way, you can use the inputs of the special decoder. Here we have only one relay actuator, which previously was called special decoder, so that's why I said it. And you can select input one, for example. It is set like a switch, so we can say when it is on, please send like I don't know, floating alarm. Okay, and then you can also create here a command set. Command set is just a set of commands for outputs. So if you want to, for example, turn on relay 1, turn off relay 2 on one relay actuator, and do other stuff on other relay actuators, you can create a command set here. Okay, let's give a look at system now. In the system, we have, for example, the system language, the time zone, topological addressing type. We can select numeric, logic, block mode, the power supply frequency, 50 or 60 Hz. If we want to customize the panic alarm contact, which is available on door phone, instead of sending panic alarm in order to send intrusion or any kind of alarm, we can customize it. This is for all the bidding. And then we have automatic door opening, which by default is disabled, and is it disabled on all the bidding, but we can enable it if you want. This is a door gate opening on CCTV, which is enabled, but for security you can also disable it, and so on. And here we have a search tab. Here you can search for everything, for nodes, devices, people, time profiles, activation doors, input outputs, contacts, and so on. Okay, so this is a not so brief description of about the IPerCom configurator. When you complete your configuration, you can save it and exit. And then you have it on your site. If you want to distribute the configuration to the system, you need to connect to the network and then go to configuration and apply changes. But thank you. Bye.